go ahead and record. So hello and welcome to this Buncee webinar. This is Idea O'Clock. It is 7 o'clock and that means it's Idea O'Clock as well. So welcome everyone so much, and thank you so much for joining in and for being a part of this Buncee webinar and for this Idea O'Clock. Again, just to repeat, for those of you that are just joining in, if you do have any questions, please feel free to let us know in the chat or the Q&A as well. If you do have any questions, you can let us know there. And we'd be happy to answer them. I'd also be happy to field any questions that we need to our guest presenter, who I'm going to introduce. And that way you can ask any questions that you need to. So welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining. And I'm so honored to be here with our guest presenter, Melissa Stark. Thank you so much for being here. And Melissa's going to tell us all about end of year activities with Buncee. So without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you, Melissa.
Hi, everyone. How are you? I hope you are having a wonderful morning or a day or night. And I'm so excited to be part of this Buncee end of the year activities and share some of the things that we do with my students to help them prepare. Again, my name is Melissa Stark. I'm a special education and ed tech model teacher in New York City Department of Ed. And this is my information. I think the only way teachers can really get through all of this is if we work together. So please feel free to reach out if you have any questions or anything you'd love to share. That is, we work hard, smarter, not harder, and that is the best part of everything we do. So today during the session, we're going to review how to design an end of the year activity with Buncees. We're going to share how these activities can be used to create instruction for students with diverse academic and social emotional learning needs as we head into our last few weeks of school. And I know depending on where you are, that could be, a couple days to a little while. We will also practice hands-on to design an activity you can use. So we're going to be using our ISTE standards for a designer and a facilitator. So something that I want to, feel the room, get you going. If you would like, you can join us at Polls Everywhere. It's pollev.com/Melissa Stark 224. And what's really cool about this is I really want to get what you guys are feeling. I want to see what kind of activities are going well for you. So I'm just going to present this for 1 minute so you could see. Let's hope. The loveliness of technology. But if you go to Polls Ev at Melissa Stark 224, what kind of activities do you like to do with your students at the end of the year? And that way we can kind of see. You can also text Melissa Stark 224 to 37607, or you can just pop it in the chat, some of the activities that you like to do with your students. This way we can get as many ideas as possible to be able to share out and be able to do with everyone. It's always great to hear all the amazing things people are doing. So I'll give you guys a few seconds if you would like to respond. If not, we'll take a look in the chat and we'll give you some great ideas of things that you can do. Ooh, anthologies, that's really cool. Working with students with exceptional needs, I love trying new things. I'm doing things, books, successes, highlight. Yes, we want to highlight all the amazing work we've all done. Activities, reflect. We're excited. Yes, we want to show those successes our students have done. And honestly, our successes. We've worked really hard this last year, and we really want to show everyone. So thank you for all of you who are sharing with us. This is a really great tool. And I love how I can always link it into my Buncees so that I can kind of see, check the pulse of what's going on in my group. So let's get moving with that. All right. So at the end of the year, one of the things that I really love to take stock of is how far my students have come. So in the beginning of the year, my students did a lot of all about me activities. I am a big believer in that work smarter, not harder phenomenon. So I use a lot of Buncee templates, and then I kind of adapt them to meet my students' needs. Because my students do have exceptional needs, embedding these animations and the pictures in them is really helpful. And also the amazing immersive reader feature that Buncee features is just, it really is supportive for my student. So in the beginning of the year, my student, we did an All About Me thing, and she loved hearing it.
My name is Diana.
And she loved hearing all the work that she's doing, and then you could hear it.
LL about me.
The other thing that we were able to do is then last summer, I had students who did not speak, whose families didn't speak English as their first language. So we actually used the Buncee immersive reader function to chat, and that was actually really helpful. So I am very thankful to have that feature in there. So for this student, she talked about her favorite princess was Ariel. She two of her favorite things were money and Snow White. We all like money. And three things she likes about school were Miss Gabby, her friend Gavin, and doing theater. So we're going to take this activity and we are going to be doing it again, just to see where students' growths are, to see if they're able to write longer sentences, share more ideas, and then you really have a great thing to see from the beginning to the end of the year. One of the things that we heard from so many of our students this year was that social activities were something they really missed. They didn't really have that ability to go into the into movie theaters and do all of that stuff that they used to do. And so for them, it was really, really important to get those social activities. So with Buncee, we were able to. And so our first thing we did was a lot of cooking activities. Buncee has, and of course, it's technology. It's going to take a second to load, but Buncee has some amazing graphics and templates that can show you cooking activities. So we would embed in here some Kahoot games so that our students had a little bit more fun learning about the things they're cooking, as well as they are we did a cooking example with a virtual field trip and talked about our rules and shared information about what we were cooking. We also designed our recipe, which is another great template that Buncee has to offer. So cooking is definitely a fun end of the year activity to do with your students. Another thing that we did was go on virtual field trips. It's kind of hard to, go different places, but you can always go and visit other places around the world virtually. So one of the things that we did that I love about Buncee is you can input so many really cool things. So we did a panoramic picture. This way the students could see and identify. And I love that Buncee has this in there and it's already there. I don't need to do any extra work. We just pop it in. The students can look and find some of those resources they're looking for to see what different locations look like. We also, I love when I make things full screen. Sorry about that, everyone. I would also, with my students, we went to the Bronx Zoo and we embedded these activities in there so that our students could then go back and see them. And one of the other ones we did was we did one on body systems. So going with our students, they love the fact that we can have those animations. We can talk about different things. We have that immersive reader feature. We talk about our field trip rules. And by making it more fun and interesting, it grabs the students' attention and they want to participate more. We also make sure we share what we'll be working on with the students so they're aware. And we kind of embed in some videos and songs to help us along the way. So the virtual field trips have been fun. We actually went to the Bronx Zoo and to the New York Aquarium today. It really was a great time, nice hour trip to spend with our students. Buncee also is integrated with Flipgrid, and Flipgrid also has some amazing field trips as well. Games. My students love games. And again, not something you can really do. So the nice thing about Buncee, and we kind of do this at the end of the year and all through the year, is use their game board templates. So we'll kind of review activities, especially as we're getting into testing, to make sure our students are aware, and then the students can move the pieces along. We have had the students as well design questions to be able to use during these games, and it has been a really great activity. They love adding in the animations and activities throughout. My students, we do a reading with friends activity to, get to see their friends, get to do things. And one of the things that has always been so great about Buncee is being able to make our reading activities more fun, but also, telling our students what a great job they did. So we designed this award in Buncee, and it's something we give to our students. And especially at the end of the year, they really love getting that email with the Buncee or in their student account to be able to see the job well done. Our students' parents love it. They feel that they are much more connected to their, teacher, and they also feel really proud of what their students are doing. This year as well, one of the things you can do and set up is a career fair. We have at my school K through 12. So we really kind of focus on, how are we going to prepare our students for the next environment? So an end of the year career fair is always a wonderful activity. So Buncee has an amazing template called Exploring Career Interests. I talked about a typical day as a technology teacher. And again, it can be.
I earn the same amount of money all other teachers make.
So again, it can be read to my students. And then when my students are completing these activities at home, they can also use the translation and the immersive reader features to be able to understand it if I'm not there to read each word for them. So we kind of went through what a technology teacher does. My students have been talking about their favorite jobs and then adding animations into it. Again, those things make it a little bit more fun and engaging than just a typical slide. And then we all talked about, our education so that the students know. And so it's been a really great way to get people into our community and share, but also be able to do it safely. We started watch parties. Watch parties have been an excellent way for us to share videos the kids have made or things we're doing, and the students love it. And then when they're done, we have them write about their movie. So tell us about what you saw. Some of our students will record a video of all the wonderful things they saw during it, and almost kind of like a book review, which you could do it with a book review as well. You can do it with your movie. And this is a great activity at the end of the year to have your students really share how their communication skills are going, what they're seeing, what they want to talk about. And it's so wonderful that it's embedded right into our Buncees. And of course, with summer, in different locations. We're in summer here in New York, so field day is always one of the most fun activities to do. But because we really can't go out to the parks and we really can't do it in person, what we're doing right now is we've set up virtual gyms. So we have a schedule with our activities we're going to do, our field day fun, and then we have our different activities. So we use a dice for the students to roll, and then we pick the activity and they do it. So if they get on one, we do jumping jacks and they get to pick 5 or 7 or 10. Then we can do toe touches, line jumps, running, yoga, or trunk twist. That's a tongue twister itself. But these are activities that are fun and engaging, and we can change them each time to make them more fun for our students. Another thing that you can do as part of a field day activity, and I actually grabbed this one directly from Buncee, is a nature activity. And while you may not be able to go outside with the whole class right now, you can give your students a list of activities to find, and they can take pictures as well as check off what they found on their nature trip, a nature scavenger hunt. And you can also as well have them share out what they do by adding in videos or pictures of what they find. So all of those things are really helpful to be able to make things a little bit more fun and engaging, but still staying safe. One of the things that Buncee always shares with us that I personally love is letter writing. When we were kids, we were pen pals, and it's a little bit harder right now, but making writing engaging for students is always a great way to see how far our students have come. So one of the things that we've done with our students, we did Valentine's Day cards. It was really nice. Our students sent Valentine's Day cards to their other students as well as teachers and family members. And it was a really great way to be able just to share anything you would like a card, but just do it electronically. And you could also add in a video or message. These are, again, one of those things I love about having access to Buncee's Idea Lab, because you can always find these great activities. Another thing we did was my class actually made a school sway, and we embedded that in here as well. And we then could share out what we've been doing as our school newsletter, as well to the people, to our other classes and to their families. So it really was a great way to get in that writing activities. And then back to our Buncee. So as we are in Teacher Appreciation Week, you can always write a letter to someone who inspired you, any of your wonderful teachers, friends, coworkers. And it's a great way, again, to have their students, have your students share about everything that they've been doing. So write your letter, explain how the person has inspired you, and reflect on what you have learned from that. One of our favorite things to do every day, my class is big into dance parties. So I love the fact that Buncee has so many cool animations to make it. Some of these dances were, of course, cool when I was a kid, and my kids are like, what are they? But it's a really great way to have some fun. And so we've embedded their different songs. We pick our songs. And in a little bit, you'll see our picker wheel. Sometimes what I'll do with my students is put the picker wheel with their favorite songs in it, and we can pick what we're going to dance to today. So that was a mouthful, and I wanted to share with you so many wonderful things that we've done this year. But I want to be able to create something with you. I'm a big believer in that we go into activities and it's great that we talk about them. It's great that we learn about them, but the best part of them is seeing them being done. So I have 4 activities that we are going to look at, and all about me, my goals, thank you cards, or a virtual field trip. So let's spin and see what the winner is. All right, so we are going to go into Buncee and create a My Goals activity. I'm going to show you a couple of the ones that my students have done. And then from there, we will also get to try it out. So first things first, this is our Untitled Buncee. If you go to select a template, which is always a great way to start, you can put in goals. We have kind of adapted different ones to meet my students' needs. But just if you're looking at the template library, they have different versions of my goals that you can look at. One word, insert your one word. They have one that is, all about 2021, a school reflection, and so we actually did one for Earth Day, actually, using this template as well. So we are just going to pick this school year reflection. And then here go. Oopsie. Sorry, everyone. We're going to use this template. All right. So we have our school year reflection, and that is what we're going to do. We're going to talk about how we would incorporate our students' goals in there. So one of the things that I know that has been really important to my students is making sure that I have the best font to be able to have them be able to read it. It's really fun to have all those really cool looking fonts, but sometimes for my students, I want to make sure that it is the most appropriate for them to read. I'm just going to pick one for right now. So it changes it so it's a little bit easier. So this is our school year. This is what I improve the most and why. So what I will do for my students is add in here. A lot of my students did really well with reading and talking to their friends. So by double clicking, you can just add it in there. Now, one of the things that I really love to do to make it more interesting, and my students have also learned to do, is go to that Amazing Plus and pick some pictures to add in it. So Buncee Animations is our go-to, and we will look for something with reading and then try to find something. So I love that you have so many different people, so many different backgrounds represented. So we're going to find a picture of a book, and then we're going to add that one in. So my students, there we go. We're going to put a book. So what I most improved in and why, reading and talking with friends. And that way, again, if I want to edit it, I can double click it and add more. And then we have our picture there to read it. The other great thing is that you can also use that immersive reader feature once it's in that preview mode. So what I enjoyed learning the most this year for my students, they truly enjoyed learning about technology. We had our own curriculum to teach our students about being digital literate, having digital literacy. So technology was something they enjoyed. Again, we're going to type our words in, go to our plus, and find some technology pictures. You can also upload your own pictures in it. That's really helpful for some of my students who need pictures, say from like Boardmaker or Symbol Sticks. They need more support. Immersive Reader does have that picture symbols in it, but only for some words. Some of my students do need more. And then if I click one, and I'm sorry, because it's getting to the end of the day here in New York, so my computer's getting a little laggy. But if I wanted to click on more than one picture, I could add them both. And then they will pop into my Buncee and I can move them around. And things I'm proud of accomplishing is doing, continuing and going through this year, teaching my students. And I'm going to put that in there. And then again, we'll add some more images. I'm going to show you how to add some stickers. So definitely another really great way to look for items. And then we're going to put my students in there. So, and then I'm just going to pick the one that most represents that what I want to do. And now I'm going to have a beautiful school year reflection that talks about the things that my students have accomplished and again, their goals. I'm going to share this full screen so you can see it. You can also actually link in sound if you like, which is always great. So your students can hear your voice or you can hear your student's voice. And we are going to go to preview and you'll get to see our amazing Buncee that we have designed about our goals. And again, so now I'm able to click on that immersive reader feature and my students are able to use that to help them.
What I improved the most in and why.
And that's a great support. If I go to the reading preferences, I can have line focus, the picture dictionary, and also choose a language to translate in. When I click that why, it could say the word you need. Improves, it'll give you a nice picture of it. So if your students need that support, that is there as well. So I am someone who gets very excited talking. So I do talk a little fast, but I want to just give this last bit of time to see if anyone has questions, anything that we can help support you with, and any ideas that you have activities for the end of the year. I know we had some really great ones highlighted, if my computer allows. You guys talked about celebrating your successes, making a book, a quizzes, reflecting, and I think all of those are so important. Oops, and my computer. It's at the end of the day, everyone. But please, if you have questions that you'd like to ask or more information, please let me know and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you so much, Melissa. This has been you've shared so many different ideas. This has been such a cool session. And I think I'm just kind of seeing in the chat, people saying lots of great ideas, and this was really awesome. And thank you so much. A question I do see, so out of all of these different kinds of activities that you have done with your students, what would you say was your students' favorite that you've done?
So my students, let me see if I can actually find it very quickly. We did a diorama of activities that we did, and that was after our virtual field trip. Let's see if I can find our diorama, because that was a lot of fun. That has been really great. So using Buncee to tie up activities, this is my, I have a lot of Buncees and I'm not really good at putting things in folders, but I'm seeing if I can find it really quick. But doing things like that end of the projects, talking about activities that we typically do. We made our gyms, we do healthy eating. So anything that kind of can be that tying up type of activity. And of course I can't find it right now, but I think those are the kind of activities that really go well. The other thing that my students really love, and we kind of started this for my students who need some social emotional regulation, especially as we come to the end of the year. We made a lot of these sensory bottle looking things. And the reason we made them, it actually came off of another Buncee activity when we saw the snow globe. So we embedded picture symbols in for our student, as well as having kind of that jar. At home we would make those, at school we would make jars for students to be able to look at and see. So now we've been able to recreate that same activity as a Buncee, and it's been really helpful for our students.
Really cool, and really like such a fun and unique idea too. I really like that. And social emotional learning is so important, especially for students with with special needs, but really for all of us, especially this year, there's been such a focus on that, as we've kind of had to shift and adjust in a lot of ways. Social emotional learning is such an important thing. I do see another question. Do you normally assign the activities to your student as an assignment? And if, what is that process like? And how do they share the things that they've created with you?
So my students do have Buncee accounts through Buncee. So some of my students, really depending on level of need, I will go in and assign it that way. For my some other students, manipulating certain things are a little hard. So we kind of do it together as an activity. I think it really, again, depends on every student. But I do share them with some students and they can complete it at home with their family. We were very lucky and have had great partnerships with other schools in our district. And through the support of some of the amazing people who work at Buncee, we were able to provide training to our families as well on how to use Buncee. And that's been a great thing so that they could actually see and use the activities as well. So, we've been very lucky in both ways.
That's awesome.
And I see someone said, can you share this through Microsoft Teams?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I love that there's that ability to now. It is really great and such a seamless integration. So we are really lucky to have that.
Yeah, absolutely. You can share with Microsoft Teams. We have a lot of integrations with Microsoft Teams. You can share directly to Google Classroom as well, if that's what you prefer to use. And we app mesh really well with a lot of your favorite ed tech tools. Yeah. Let me see if there's any other questions. So a couple of other things. Okay. So a couple of technical questions that I think I can take a look at.
And I do want to add the adding it through Google Classroom really is such a seamless process. Google Classroom is our learning management system that my school uses. So it has been a really great way to share with students, and also for my students to be able to see when I'm out some days, sharing it, activities with them through the Google Classroom so that they, still know that I'm thinking about them and have their supports that they still need. And that's nice because I can schedule it ahead.
Yeah, which is so convenient too. So just last question, I would say overall, so what has been what has been kind of the student response when you are sharing these kinds of activities and for the end of the year to what's kind of their reaction, their responses?
So I have been lucky that I actually got end of the year last year, as well as we're starting to prepare for end of the year. New York City goes to the end of June, but my students are just so engaged with Buncee. It really helps them so much to see these interactive pieces, and it really helps them become submerged into the activity. And again, it's also great for our students' families because they can also then use these same activities with the students when I'm not around through the Google platform or through Microsoft Teams. So it really makes things more fun. Our virtual field trips and our field day activities have always been a really big hit because it gets students moving and grooving, and it also gets us to explore places we wouldn't be able to do if we were not doing what we were doing now. But again, I think the most important thing is to ask your students what they want to do and find out, because they will take you on an adventure way better than any of us could dream of.
Absolutely. So I totally agree. But I think that's it. I think we're at time. Thank you, Melissa, so much. Was there anything else that you wanted to add or anything like that?
I just want to say thank you all for joining us. And again, if there's anything I can help you, please feel free to reach out and keep creating, because honestly, it's great seeing everyone else's work when they share it. It's one amazing thing about the Buncee community is all the sharing and the creativity that comes our way.
Absolutely. Yes, definitely. And if you're not following us on social, you can find us on Twitter and definitely share what you're creating with us. So thank you again, Melissa. Thank you so much for all of these ideas. I think it was really cool to see kind of there's no right or wrong way to do something on Buncee. There's lots of different options always, and so many different ways that you can do things that you can share with your students. So just before we go, just as a reminder, to join in on our next idea clock, I'm going to share my screen really quickly. And our next idea clock that we have coming up is, of course, featuring Sumeta, and she's going to be talking about digital badge notebooks with Buncee, and that's at June 3rd at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So we hope to see you all there. So thank you everyone so much for joining in. I hope you have a great rest of your evening, rest of your morning. And thank you so much for being here. So take care, everybody.
Thank you all so much.
Bye.
Bye.